Goodness to you. Goodness to you. This is Sporty King, and I always say goodness because I don't know whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening that you're watching the broadcast. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Welcome to Glue Friday. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Glue Wednesday. I'm getting on early. The message doesn't start until 1 o'clock Eastern. But I always like to get on at least 5 minutes early if possible to give the technology, you have to work with technology and to give it a chance to do what they call build the audience. And so it sends out that message, like maybe you just got to say, oh, that's right, Sporty's on live and I want to get over there. And so that's what you'll end up doing, those people who are going to be with me on live on the broadcast. Those of you who are going to be with me on the video of the broadcast, please remember that I would still love for you to comment in the chat. Especially today, we've got a great topic that we're going to have you put something in the chat. And then also, this is Wednesday. This is the day where I do my shout outs. So, so I love for people to put a shout out in the chat, and I can click on it and get it on the screen and just say hello. So your comments will be broadcast depending on whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Now, depending on which one of those mediums you're on, you may or may not see the other people's comments. So that's why I will also be saying what the comments are as well as answering them. We've got less than 4 minutes for today's message. So again, welcome to Glue Wednesday. Now, Glue Wednesday was born out of the fact that I do old school, right? Old school rules, I always say. See, back in the day, we used to just call, the reason they call Wednesday hump day is because back in the day, we just looked at you either work Monday to Friday and then there was the weekend. We never considered or used the term flex time. Though there obviously has always been flex time because we've always had people working in restaurants, hotels, public transportation, etc. But we just say Wednesday was hump day. It was the day that, and we looked at it as the middle of the week of a 5-day week. But what about the people who didn't work Monday to Friday? What about the people that work Thursday to Tuesday, right? Or Thursday to Monday? So that's why I created Glue Wednesday, because I said Wednesday is the middle of a traditional 7-day week, regardless of when you work. It's the day that keeps the week beginning and the week end together. So therefore, it's the glue. It's the glue. It brings the week and the week beginning and the week end together. And it puts me in one of my favorite poses, and that's the pose of prayer. And that's why I created it as an affirmation of glue, G-L-U-E. God's love undoes everything. Not that God's love will tear things apart, but whatever is torn apart, God's love will pull it back together. Put it back together and glue it back and make it better than it was before. So again, if you're here with me live, go on and throw something in the chat so I can get your name up there and get a shout out to you, because I see it says somebody's watching. So glad to have you on board, okay? We've got less than 2 minutes for today's actual message. So when you think about the Glue Wednesday, think about how you can help us keep it together. Because see, it's not about hump day. It's not about getting over. It's about keeping it together. That's what we want to do, is keep it together. Now, I created this back in 2017. So this is not something that was born of the pandemic, 2020. We give a lot of credit to 2020 for some of the innovation right now. It deserves some of it, but not all of it. So make sure that you're not just, attributing everything to the pandemic and what happened since 2020, because God, we're in our 3rd year of the pandemic, y'all. We're in our 3rd year. Have you given yourself credit for keeping it together for these 3 years? Some people have gone through losses in their families. We're going to be talking about families today and how they had the new funeral system is working. Hey, we got our first shout out. What's going on, Cecilia? Glad to be glued. Glued to you, Sporty. All right. And your messages helped me keep it together. Wonderful testimony. Can't pay for these things, but you can keep them and shout them out. I got less than a minute for today's message, so thank you for that, Cecilia, my Chicago sister, as we sip that sorrel. And then there's my sister Zetine. Hey, Lord knows, can't believe it's been 3 years. Right? Isn't that something? and you know what? As long as we keep it numbers, let's make sure we get it right. It's been 2 years. We're in the third. Yeah, let's not give it any more credit than it needs. Maybe we'll come up with just what we need to make it go a little further, in terms of us having a cure and being able to deal with it better. Okay, to keep it together better. So, amen. But hey, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get started out with today's message. Now, today's message, if you saw the preview, it started out by saying in Matthew 12:48, Jesus asked, "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers?" So I will be using these what I call rhetorical questions for today's glue message. And the first thing I want to do is I want to start out with a pause for the cause. And I want to ask you to put in the chat right now, how would you finish that sentence? How would you finish that sentence? Family is. That's the question is, Jesus said, who is my mother? Who are my brothers? So that's a rhetorical question, and that's my topic today. Family is. How would you finish that sentence? And I'm going to wait. There's a pause and a delay in the post from where you are. For instance, I see Marva's on YouTube, so y'all may not see her post, but she says, "Come with the message. I'm excited to keep it together." Okay, and then here Victor's on Facebook. He says, "Hey fam, good to see everybody. G for life." That's Grant for life. We grew up in Grant projects. But everybody, right now, I want you to put in your chat wherever you're watching the broadcast from, and if you're watching it as a taped broadcast, still put in the chat so that you can enjoy the experiences of how the message gets built. How would you finish this sentence? Family is. If I had some music to play, I'd play it while you're putting it in there, but I won't go forward, so I get a few comments in there because I really need those to show up. Family is. Family is. And by the way, because of what Marva posted on YouTube and the fact that y'all don't see it on Facebook, that's part of how I've grown in my broadcasting, and something that, you want to consider. Always find ways to grow in your technology use. So I've gone from just broadcasting this from Facebook to now broadcasting live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. So that's great. Here comes some comments, okay? Victor says, family is everything. Family is everything. And then and you know what? Like I love to say, you can't make this stuff up, because you know how they say, "No, have we met before?" No, and we have not discussed this, but that's coming up in the broadcast. See why I wanted people to put stuff in? But go on, put something in the chat that you believe, even if you're watching a video. Because Cecilia says, family is the gift that God gives to help us learn to live life. Man, these are great definitions. Family is the gift that God gives to help us learn to live life. That's going to be coming up in the broadcast too. Watch out, y'all. Y'all are a blessing. Sometimes supportive, sometimes challenging. This is why that's my maternal sister on board there, knowing my mind. And like I said, you never know. You never know where we're going. And then, and I'm gonna stop with this one. Family is what you make it. Ooh, it reminds me of a song. Who was that? When the old time group, Life is What You Make It. Was it Cool in the Gang? I don't remember. But anyway, family is what you make it. Okay, so we got those 4 definitions to start out with. And again, please, if you're watching the video, go on, put your comment in there so that you can really get a great moment when this thing all comes together. Okay, here, Daphne's just coming in, and she's saying, "Greetings, family, those who show love." Family are those who show love and support for the upliftment of everyone. I'm going to slow down and just take a few more of these. Family, those who show love and support for the upliftment of others. Yes. Roger Carroll says, both those are blood and those we choose, those we love. Family are both those who are blood and those we choose, those we love. Y'all know what? If I were to fast forward, and you know what? I am going to do this. I'm going to fast forward to a glimpse of one of the things that I'm going to say at the end. And that is, I am definitely going to say thank you for being my family, because all those definitions that you gave are what we definitely want to be talking about today. And that is what family is. Beautiful. And think of all these as we go back, because today I purposely am wearing this t-shirt. If you can see the t-shirt, it says, Hey UGLY. I'm wearing this t-shirt representing my minority partnership in a non-for-profit, which is called HeyUgly.org. It was created by my good friend, Betty Hefner, after hearing my 1996 Toastmaster Regional Championship speech, How to Be Ugly, where I talked about self-esteem and how to turn negatives into positives through, imagine this, the power of words. And as long as I'm talking about Toastmasters, let me get one more definition there from one of my good Toastmasters friend here in Charlotte, Calvin Duncan. Family is a smorgasbord of lessons. And see, I had to throw out in right where I happen to say, I'm talking about turning negatives into positive through the power of words. Yes, there are so many wonderful words. And there goes another Toastmaster, one of my mentees in Chicago, Barry Mixon. Hey, Toastmasters. Like, hey, ugly, okay? So let's go back, okay? Let's go back. I decided that instead of letting, my title of my speech was, Hey, Ugly, because I decided then, oh man, what's up, Dondi? What's up? Okay, I'm gonna stop looking at the comments so I can get through this. Good to see you, Dondi. That's Leon Martin. That's family, okay? But I decided that instead of an insult, when someone said, Hey, ugly, they were actually giving you a compliment by saying, Hey, unique, gifted, lovable you. See, it's turning the negative into positive. So let's hold on. Let's put that on hold for a few minutes and look at our topic. Our topic, family, is so that I can add to all of these wonderful things that you've written, all these wonderful things that you've written. I want to add something that some of you did allude to, and that is that family is sometimes the biggest enemy. Wow. Yeah, you know what? Who said it? Roger Carroll said, those we love. Zatine said, sometimes they can be challenging. And, you know, family is what you make it, said Cecilia. Everything, yeah, including the biggest enemy. See, now you see why I wanted the other people who were watching the video to just put it in the chat, what it is. And let me see what Barry said. After all these years, you're still awesome, my brother. Much love and respect. I appreciate that, okay? Good. So let's move on, okay? Family is sometimes our biggest enemy. So here's why I say that. Because another good friend of mine, another Toastmaster, Ramona Hopkins, turned me on to a TV series, which I've been now binge watching on Fire Stick. The series is called Yellowstone, starring Kevin Costner. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but Yellowstone, starring Kevin Costner. They're in their 5th season, and I'm on season number 3 with my binge watching. But it was in season number 2 that I found what I want to share today. Costner has 2 sons and a daughter. His daughter's name is Beth. Now, I believe, and I've given her the title, that Beth is the sister from hell. Beth is the sister from hell, okay? Here are 2 comments that she makes to one of her brothers. These are quotes. There are 2 comments that she makes to one of her brothers. The first one, she says, I want to tell you something. And it comes from a place of love. You should really consider killing yourself. I want to tell you something, and it comes from a place of love. You should really consider killing yourself. Now, after she said that to him, as a result, he does consider, I'm telling you all about this, the movie, the series a little, but you still have to watch it to really enjoy it. He does consider killing himself and has to get talked down from the ledge of blowing his head off with a rifle from a guy who grew up with him and was like a brother to him. And as he's working through toward feeling better about himself, and he's in the barn one day cleaning a horse's stall, Beth, the sister from hell, comes in, has a seat and she says, shoveling feces, and you know she didn't say feces on TV, shoveling feces really suits you. You know, one day, Jamie, as much as it astonishes me, someone will love you and you'll love somebody. And I can't wait to take that from you. Even if I have to kill it with my bare hands, I will take it from you. This is his sister. Well, where am I going with all of this positive message? Where am I going? Well, I'm going to each of the wonderful characteristics that y'all put in the chat about family. Because I think that we take some of them for granted. So I want to thank you, and I want to remind you that there are people being bullied or in an abusive relationship with their family. And it can start as easily as growing up with that belief that seems to get piped into the music while we sleep. And Victor said it, family is everything. We get that message piped in that family is everything. That means that you have to accept whatever they do and however they treat you. And we support this. We support this as we grow. Here's an excerpt from what I shared on my January 7th Gift Friday message. Gift Friday is G-I-F-T. God is for today. And that's my Friday sharing of my original poetry and how you can use it to uplift people and tell your story. But here's what one of my friends, Teresa Banks, so this is what I wrote on Friday, January 7th. You can go back to my Gift Friday broadcast. If you're using YouTube, by the way, it's easiest to go back because all of my broadcasts are logged in order there, according to the topic, okay? So here's what my friend Teresa Banks posted on her New Year's birthday lesson on January 4th. She said, I've learned that I can't waste time with people not treating me well, whether it be friends or family. You have to reach a place where if you have to remove toxic folks from your life to really enjoy your life, then you have to do it. That's what Teresa wrote. And I responded, you better hear and live. And you better hear and live what you know about how people treat you. You see, some allow themselves to get caught up in, but their family. But we've been friends for so long. My message today is to say to those who are in those abusive relationships with their families, one, you are not alone. There are so many people in abusive relationships with their family based on what we've been socialized with. Family is everything. And what's that meaning? Whatever they do, you have to accept how they treat you. Accept whatever they do and however they treat you. That's been subliminally piped into us all our lives. But let me say to you, if you're going through that, you are not alone. That's one. You see, two is that that you don't have to stay in that abusive relationship. Though getting out is going to be hard. It's hard to get out of that abusive relationship with just our people who we are having relationships with a love affair, or significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. But what about ones in the family? You don't have to stay in there, but it's hard to get out. Because everybody says, you need to get out, but it's hard. Here's why it's hard. Because to get out, you have to start within. You have to go inside. Those lessons that y'all talked about, you have to go inside to find a way to get out. And so that's why I say that I wore this t-shirt today, because on the back of this t-shirt, it says, I am enough. I'm not going to turn around and tell you, but that's what it says on the back of this t-shirt. It's a lesson and reminder to each of us that healthy self-esteem requires how Jesus answered Matthew 12:48 with Matthew 12:49 through 50. He then pointed out to his disciples. He then pointed to his disciples and said, "These are my mother and brothers. Anyone who does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother." You see, Beth could be your sister. She could be your cousin. She could be your neighbor. She could be your co-worker. So that's why I want to say to you, let the characteristics that you've listed, take the characteristics you've listed and apply them to the people in your life. Not just your maternal family, the people in your life, and that you may be in a better position to finish that sentence, family is. Because just as you've heard me say, choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you are carefully being chosen as someone else's messenger, as you've said in your comments, and I say, choose your family carefully and realize you are carefully being chosen as family. Let's go back to why. No, before I do that, let me look at some of the comments, because now if we look at some of the comments, we'll see them a little bit differently, though not at all. We'll see that we just defined them. Okay, family, where is it? Starting with Vic. Family is everything. Choose your family carefully and recognize you're being carefully chosen as family. Cecilia, it's the gift that God gives us help. So God gives you a gift that helps you get through life. It doesn't say maternal. Zet said it's a blessing, but sometimes supportive, sometimes challenging. Choose who you're going to be supportive of you and who's going to challenge it. Family is what you make it. Choose them carefully. All right? Those who love and support you. Choose them carefully. Okay? Both good blood and those we choose. See, and we didn't discuss this before the broadcast. That's why I'm going back and pointing all these out. Because see, so many times, like what I say, to get out of an abusive relationship, you have to go within. We've got the answers so much and right with us. Family is a smorgasbord of lessons. We've got so many lessons with us. We've got to choose what we're going to eat. How we're going to let these things be served to us. Y'all can't see it, but on YouTube, Marva gave a thumbs up as we talked about some of the things, and then she gave also a face of oh my God, yes, because she's saying these are the things that Beth, the sister from hell, said to her brother. This is the family. Family is everything. And then so what Cecilia said and by the way, Cecilia's on LinkedIn. Now that I realize, so many of you don't see Cecilia's comment. Cecilia says family is a mirror of your values, your beliefs, and your fears. There's that smorgasbord. All these things the family can be. Barry said, as a gemologist storyteller, gemological, but he's a gemologist. I always tell people that they have to discover the value of their own stories. I am enough. You have to go within to find that value so that you can choose your family carefully and recognize that you are carefully being chosen as a messenger. Okay. Here's a comment from LinkedIn, and this is by my brother Wyman Winbush, Pastor Wyman Winbush. So Facebook, you don't see this, but it says, yes, toxic folk have got to go. Some people, even family, we must learn to love from a distance. You don't stop loving them, but you don't enable them to infuse your atmosphere with negativity and toxins. And I think that one of the keys that you don't have to stop loving them, but you have to love somebody from a distance sometimes. See, family is a lot of things, and I want y'all to go back and you'll see it all. You'll see it all on Facebook because you'll see all of the comments. But then, if you're not on LinkedIn, go over there and see some of the things that they wrote. And LinkedIn, come on over and see some of the things they wrote in Facebook, and just see how much we say. And that was what I was saying to Teresa when she did that New Year's post, that she's learned about getting toxic folks out of her life. We say all of these things, and then how often have we followed up that saying with but? And then the but is what gets us in trouble. Okay? You have to love yourself first And then you have to disconnect negativity. That's why the back of this shirt says, I am enough. You have to love yourself first. And so that's why I want to go back. Oh, okay. And that's Zetine. That was Zetine saying that. But I just have to realize I got to make sure I say this because LinkedIn isn't seeing this comment. Zetine is saying you have to love yourself first from Facebook and disconnect negativity. Oh, okay. So I see that Cecilia is watching us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay, so her last comment was on LinkedIn. This one she's got on Facebook, and she said, family is a constant exercise in building resilience in love, reconciliation, and forgiveness. All of these, again, look at what everyone's saying. When you look at the magic of Barry's words of family as a smorgasbord, when you look at how, even with a smorgasbord is what Victor said is everything. And how, Roger Carroll talked about it's who you choose. They don't have to be blood. All of these things. And one guy is on here. I don't know if he's still on there, but he said, what's up? That was Leon Martin. That's Don. He's a doctor. He definitely knows about bringing families into this world and adding to them. So let's go back to why I'm wearing this t-shirt. I want you to please go to the heyugly.org site. And then see what we're doing over there to combat bullying, suicide, substance abuse, and low self-esteem among teens and tweens. Tweens are those who are not yet teenagers. I guess that's between that 10 and 12 year spot. And that's, you see, because that's where the lessons start. And you know what? Who just said? Let me see. Who just said something? Building with it's what Cecilia's comment is sitting on Facebook right now, saying family is a constant exercise in building resilience in love, reconciliation, and forgiveness. And that's sometimes it starts in the teens and tweens. And especially these days we're expecting so much more maturity from our young people. So I ask you and invite you to go to heyugly.org and just see what we're doing to combat bullying, suicide, substance abuse, and low self-esteem. You see, because that's where the lessons start. Maybe if you go there, you can find a way to battle the growth or even understand how it's grown in you. You see, one of the excerpts from my 1996 speech, How to Be Ugly, I'm saying how it's grown in you, because here's one of the excerpts from my speech. I said, so I want to remind you that we must constantly find ways to give a positive twist to every potentially negative situation. That's why I've redefined UGLY. Because how we see ourselves is sometimes how children define themselves. We need more of your definitions that are in this thread of family to be the whole story. On the site, you can purchase this t-shirt or one from a variety of inspirational and positive sayings. But I do also ask and hope that you consider donating to this cause. And as I showed you in my spoiler alert early, believe me, I do thank you for being my family. I'm Sporty King. And I want to remind you, commit your spirit to constantly seek things and reasons to be thankful. See, I started this message back in November of 2021 about giving thanks. All of these topics I've talked about then are different ways to give thanks. And how you treat your family, how you define your family, and how you fit into that family is part of your giving thanks to God for what he's done. Because who said it earlier? Let me go back and see who said it. Family, here it is. Cecilia said it when she was on LinkedIn, so you can't see it on Facebook. She said, family is the gift that God gives to help us learn to live life. And that's something that we have to be thankful for. And remember, I also thank you for watching, engaging, and sharing Glue Wednesday. Because Glue, Glue, it's on all of the different medias that we're watching right now. God's love really does undo everything. If you keep God's love where it should be, because it's there, but sometimes we push it aside instead of pushing the negative people aside. If you keep God's love where it should be, then you will find that we don't have to hump. What we have to do is continuously find ways to keep it together. I'm Sporty King. This has been your Glue Wednesday message. I'm going to stay on and just highlight some of the comments that are coming in afterwards. Victor says, be safe and stay blessed, everyone. Karen Pride is on Facebook. She says, thank you. I met you at Kingston Plantation. That was when it was a yellow ribbon, was a military function with my niece, and you changed my life forever. See, that was becoming family. The retreat was for her and her family, but it was meant for me to be there. You never know what God has put you in position to receive, but you should always know that God has put you in position to receive. And that's why you have to choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you are carefully being chosen as a messenger. And Roger Carroll says, thank you, Sporty Fam, again, which is what I'll go put that up there again. Thank you, family. Zetine says, understand family is not always biological. It's not always maternal. It's who you choose. God blessings come through others that are family. They become your family as a result of what? You knowing what family is. You have to define family for you. How do you do that? You do it by defining who you are. Does the back of your t-shirt, does the inside of your heart say I am enough? That becomes your definition. And if you keep it positive, now you'll find ways to pull people in. And on Facebook, Karen just wrote, yes. And that yes is to what I'm sure I was sharing about what she posted about how we met. And also, but it's because it's a thing that we have to remember to say to our family. And Cecilia's on Facebook. She says family. And family, by the way, is friends and family. Is biological and biographical with those you choose to accept from those God places in your path. Are you now seeing why I wanted you to put your comments in the chat in advance to see how this magically shows that we are on, we are in sync with this message, but we always need to be reminded. Because we get sucked in and caught up in what that music used to play. That music used to play in our lives. Family is everything, and his friends, you've been together so long, let it go. Nope, you gotta, toxic people are toxic people. God will, and what Karen is saying on Facebook, God will give you a family. He gave us you. I thank you and appreciated that. But more important than him giving me you, I thank you for choosing me. Because again, remember, God will give you a problem too. God's not, blessings. The other day, one of my spiritual brothers, Shanga Wilson, he said, we have to remember that sometimes blessings can be uncomfortable. When we think about blessings, we always think of, this great comfortable thing to happen. No, blessings can be uncomfortable. God will give you an uncomfortable situation. Why? To show you why you are blessed. So giving me to you was the blessing, but I had to be chosen by you as someone who has a message that you want because it applies to your life. Now it becomes incumbent upon you to have that domino effect and share it with someone else, because I got it from someone else as well as I got it from you. As you see that I'm getting all of these comments, these are things that are infused that you said it a different way than I said it. And that way I'll be able to say it to someone and share it to someone in another way. All right, thank you, Karen. On Facebook, Barry is saying, you were the person who taught me that the most important person to tell a story to is to yourself. And I love that, because a lot of times people say, well, you know what? Hey, it's okay if you talk to yourself, but just don't answer yourself, because then you're crazy. And I always say, talk to yourself, but also answer yourself. Because if you won't answer yourself, why would somebody else? That's what Barry is saying there too. The most important to tell a story to is yourself. Talk to yourself, because you're going to do it anyway. But then answer yourself, because that's what God is doing, is giving you the answer. And now you have to decide how you're going to act. Faith without works is inaction. Faith without works is inaction. Okay. So thank y'all for these comments, and again, thank y'all for comments that you can continue to post if you're watching a videotape, because this is something we should never forget. And so I'm going to go with one more comment, and that's from Karen on Facebook. She said, "You're welcome. Yes, he will." Ooh, we could apply that to everything. We have to be okay to become uncomfortable. I'm going to keep it open just for a minute there. We have to be okay to become uncomfortable. Think about what what a caterpillar goes through. They're uncomfortable in that cocoon, but they got to scratch out to get to the butterfly. I often share my story with my patients who are depressed. My gift was to share my story to let them know that they are not alone. Didn't we say that in the broadcast? But it also heals me. Because until isn't there a quote in the Bible? My spiritual brothers always laugh because I always say to them, I use the Bible, I don't quote it well. But doesn't it say, heal thyself, physician? Or physician, heal thyself. I can't say that's in such and such. I can't quote that. When y'all see me quoting these things on the Bible and putting them in there, it's because I looked them up and I knew what to put up. Heal thyself, physician, heal thyself. You help people. You put what Barry said on Facebook together is tell yourself the story together with what Karen said. And that is when you tell yourself the story, now you can share it with someone. And as you're sharing it with someone, you know why it heals you? Because now you start to hear the part you played. Because you played a role in that relationship. What role did you play in that relationship and how it has turned out? Because yes, it does matter, the role that you play and how you can heal yourself so that you can help heal others. Be careful not to say, one of the things I don't say, hey, I've been in your shoes. Now, some people say that. Again, it's a cliche and it's words, but I'm choosy, I'm picky about words. I say, I haven't been in your shoes, but I sat in your row. Because all of us are going through something. I don't know what you're going through. I haven't been exactly through what you're going through, but I know that you're going through something because you need to know that I'm going through something. Pastor Winebush from LinkedIn, he's saying, babies would never be born if they refuse to leave their comfort zone, also known as the womb. Babies would never be born if they refuse to live their comfort zone. Add that to what Karen said about you have to be okay with leaving your comfort zone. Back on Facebook, Barry says, by understanding other people's story, you discover the value of your own. Yeah, because the value is the key. We've all got stories. What's the value in your story? How does that story help you help someone else? And sometimes, remember, one of the things I always say as well is we can learn so much more from a negative role model, that blessing, that challenging blessing that God gives you, than we can from a positive role model. Why? Because with the negative role model, the value, we say, I will never do that. Look at that person. With the positive role model, sometimes we say, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not who he or she is. And so that's the value that you can learn. When you discover your value, then you know how you can share it. On LinkedIn, Pastor Winebush is saying the same is true of our dreams, hopes, and visions. Back to that smorgasbord. If you now I swear to God, go through the thread and look at some of the words that we use. And Barry, thank you for throwing that word smorgasbord in there, because that's what language is, and that's how we get to value. It's the things that that are said and spoken into our spirit to make a difference. So y'all can't see it on Facebook, but from LinkedIn it says the same is true of our dreams, hopes, and visions. And that is to remind us that we have to go through the comfort zone. And Karen on Facebook is saying, being the vessel of God for those that are hurting. That's what each of us is. I did a post, I don't know when it was, within the last couple of weeks, but it just reminded people, you are sitting next to an angel at all times. Even if there's nobody else in the room, you're sitting next to yourself. But when you're with someone else, you're sitting next to one of God's angels. If you would recognize that and they would recognize that, think about how we could treat one another. We are each vessels of God for those who are hurting. We are made in the image of God so that we can be a vessel for those who are hurting and in pain. We can be the answer, but answers have to be chosen. So I'm going to close with that comment again, and that is, choose your messengers carefully. Choose your family carefully and recognize you are carefully being chosen by someone else. And I'm going to go on and be a liar once again, because this is the first time comment that I'm getting on Facebook from Theo Powell. He says, thanks for reaching out to lots of people out there who are lost. Your words and inspiration just may help them. Thank you, Theo. And again, I say that to you as well. Continue to reach out, because so many people don't know how to ask for help. And sometimes we think that asking someone if they need help is infringing upon their privacy. It's not easy being us, y'all. It's not easy being a grown-up. But this is what we have evolved to do. And that's why Karen's closing on Facebook. Y'all, I'm trying to close out. She said, let him prune you and be careful whose tree you are leaning on. You have to know that the fruit you bear. Y'all got, sister, keep on putting them things in the comment, y'all. We can take this thing forever. But now you see how everything comes from you just knowing what family is. Thank you. God bless you. The last comment on Facebook says, love you. And that's how I feel about you. I'm Sporty King. Thanks for your blessing. Be sure to catch this and always any of my broadcasts right here on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or on my website. You got to have options. If you want to watch them in a nice order, if you want to binge watch, go to YouTube, because then they're in order and you can pull down the playlist. Okay, so thank you. God bless you. And I'll see you next week, if not sooner. Over and out. Ciao.